If you have ever wondered what Shakespeare would sound like translated for a serialized television drama, circa 2016, wonder no more. The answer arrives 18 minutes into this gloriously fraught episode, when Chuck summons Kim to his home and accuses Jimmy of murder most foul. Ugh, that overstates it. He accuses Jimmy of fraud. But we're talking about the white-collar law part of the show, so that's bad enough. We first see Chuck in a chair, sporting his mylar cape, looking vaguely regal and plainly exhausted. Behold Albuquerque's own King Lear, returned to his wits after a lengthy bout of madness. Chuck's is a psychosomatic illness, but work with me here. And is furious not about the loss of a kingdom but of a client. Like Lear, he has been betrayed by family, though here we have not a pair of wicked daughters, but one morally compromised brother. I won't torture this comparison any further, because the differences between Chuck and Lear outnumber the similarities, and what makes this scene Shakespearean isn't reference to any particular character. It's the stew of grievances, half-truths, and lies, all of it stirred by love, loathing, and jealousy. Chuck tells Kim about Jimmy's wee-hour shenanigans at the copy store, the doctoring of Mesa Verde's documents, which has had catastrophic results for both Mesa Verde and Chuck. She looks sad and disappointed for a moment, but regains her composure and suddenly pretends she is an impartial judge. Instead of condemning Jimmy, she tests Chuck. If what you're saying is true, Jimmy could be charged with forgery, fraud, she tells Chuck, falsifying evidence, even breaking and entering. Translation: Are you vindictive enough to see your brother not just disbarred, but imprisoned? He is. Frankly, I'm sick about this, Chuck replies, but facts are facts. Chuck has failed Kim's test. If he is willing to send his brother to jail, and for an act that Chuck has just described as a twisted romantic gesture, then she is willing to pretend that she doesn't believe what he's saying about Jimmy. You made a mistake, she tells Chuck, and instead of just facing up to it, you accuse your brother of plotting against you. You come up with this elaborate scheme. Other characters have complimented Kim's intelligence in previous episodes, but this is the first time we get to see just how bright and cunning she truly can be. This scene is set up by another that brought Shakespeare to mind. The bard was a big fan of plots in which horrific consequences flow from small deceptions. Think of the mischief Abel makes out of a handkerchief in Othello. Likewise, Jimmy's sabotaging of the Mesa Verde documents is such a triumph, it feels a tad contrived and too perfectly timed. The New Mexico State Banking Board discovers the error during the hearing, and not only does the board refuse a provisional approval, it declines to reconvene for 6 weeks. Mesa Verde's top boss is so irate, he promptly fires Hamlin, and McGill. I'll give the writer and director Peter Gould a pass because the scene feels surprisingly natural, right down to the low-key way the bank bureaucrats swat away Chuck's protests. But this is not the most improbable moment of Nailed, as this episode is titled. That honor belongs to the spectacle of Mike buying a round for everyone at a bar. He does so soon after he single-handedly makes off with $250,000 secreted in the tires of an ice cream truck that doubles as a drug mule, leaving the driver hog-tied on the side of a road. Mike is a model of discipline and restraint. What explains this lapse? A couple of drinks. While we wait to learn whether his largesse has unexpected consequences, let us savor Mike's highway robbery. What a joy to see him return to the form he demonstrated in Breaking Bad, this time dressed as a kind of geriatric ninja. As an owl-eared commenter noted last week, Mike heard the tires being removed from the ice cream truck in a garage while he eavesdropped from his car in the previous episode. That's how we knew the cash was stored in the wheels. We later learned that profit was probably not Mike's primary motive. He was hoping to sick the police on Hector Salamanca, presuming the authorities would discover the driver and the sliced truck tires and assume that the vehicle was linked to the drug trade and traceable to Salamanca. No such luck. Mike did not foresee that the cartel would find the driver first, tipped off by a good Samaritan who is repaid for his kindness with a fatal bullet to the face. You can see how this rattles Mike, who is haunted by the death of his son. The reaction shot of him in his car, absorbing the consequences of his theft, is Jonathan Banks at his finest. The episode closes with Kim yet again demonstrating that she is the brains of the Wexler-McGill duo, nudging Jimmy to clean up any evidence of his misdeeds by noting how formidable an adversary Chuck would be in a legal dispute.